We're a firm that works with U.S. citizens that are fiscal residents in Europe. And right now, what I'm seeing is a lot of Americans have an interest in either moving to Europe or getting their money out of the United States. So I'm not sure whether that's the political climate or just a level of fear or just people have a lot of money and they can afford to move to Europe. But right now, we've never seen so many people interested. And the problem is that as an American, you're trained to think in one way. For example, you can invest in mutual funds in the United States, you can invest in ETFs, but as soon as you move to Europe, your bank can no longer service you, or your brokerage firm, they're not licensed in Europe. So you have to close your accounts. And a European investor, including a US citizen, is not allowed to invest in an ETF in America or in a mutual fund. So the way you do things is completely different. It's the same concept in general, but the way you do it is different. So our firm is designed to help people stay in compliance, stay in conformity with the tax laws, make sure that they understand that as a U.S. citizen, you're always paying taxes in the United States, even if you live overseas. But if you live overseas, if you live in France or Germany or Spain or any European country, you also have to pay taxes in that country. So what there is between the two countries, there's a tax treaty, and our firm helps you navigate through all the challenges that you have, managing your money, staying sane, and trying to be a U.S. citizen in a European country. Look, there's a lot of people that want to move overseas that really know nothing about it. And, you just start. I mean, the worst, if you make some mistakes, it's okay. We can fix them. So a lot of people, they just want to get out. They love the idea of living in Europe, living in a different country. And it's not really so difficult. Obviously you're gonna need a visa, but there are lots of people to help you. There are lots of Facebook groups, for example, that are helping people move overseas, and so it's a lot easier today than it ever has been before. But still, financially, it's a little bit complicated. It's not that easy to find a lot of help. I did a webinar the other day. There were 1,200 people that signed up that paid for the webinar, just how to be, a U.S. citizen overseas and how to invest like that. So there's a huge demand for this kind of service. There are very few people that are working in this field. So for our firm, it's a good time where we have just a huge demand for the level of service that we offer. A lot of people ask me, should I take my money and invest it in a brokerage firm in France or Germany or whatever? And the answer is actually no. You want to maintain your money usually in a U.S. firm that is licensed in Europe. There are not a lot of them, but they do exist that actually focus on this kind of market. So it's not a question that you're going to go overseas and go to the local bank, try to speak French or Spanish or German or Danish or whatever language that they speak in that country. No, you have to think about it as an American. I always recommend that people, when they're working with professionals overseas, whether it's an accountant or a lawyer, try to work with an American. They speak the same language as you. They understand where you're coming from. They understand what your problems are. And usually they have a lot of experience in how to solve them.